Hello and welcome to the What Shara Made podcast. It's been quite a while since I filmed an episode, but welcome back if you are a long time watcher, and big welcome and hello if this is the very first time you're joining me. I've got a couple of whips to show you and I've got a few FOs. When I first thought about making this episode, I thought, I've barely done anything. Is it even really worth making an episode? And then I started gathering things for the episode and I thought, oh, no, I've got a lot. And I actually had to leave some out. Otherwise, this episode was going to go for several hours. So I have actually been up to a lot, even though I didn't think I had been up to a lot. So I'll start with some whips. As you know, or may not know, the Australian Sheep and Wool Show in Bendigo is coming up in July. The past 2 years it's been cancelled, which is a real shame. Last year was really bad because we all got there and then it was cancelled at the last minute. So I was actually in Bendigo when it got cancelled. Much worse for the actual vendors and people who were doing things at the show and had animals at the show. Much worse for them than it was for people who were just attending the show. But yeah, still devastating for everyone. But this year, fingers crossed, it's going ahead. So I've been making a new sweater to wear to the show, and I'll show you what it is. I've got everything in a big pile on the floor next to me because I didn't have anything big enough to hold everything. So it's on the floor. So I've got a list of all the names of everything I'm about to show you. If you're familiar with my work, you'll know that I can never remember the name of anything I've ever made. So I thought I would make a list. What I'm about to show you is called, I haven't got my glasses on so I'm also struggling, Trojan Barbara Stjarna by Maja Arcturus, and I'll put that down here as well. And I got the pattern on Ravelry. I'm not sure if it's available elsewhere, possibly is, and it looks like this. As you can see, I am almost done with the body. I've done the yoke, as you see here, the colourwork yoke, and I've separated for the sleeves, done the body, and I'm partway through the waistband, the ribbing on the waistband there you can see. The pattern had a few interesting moments. The pattern had a few interesting moments, maybe a few things perhaps lost in translation, so I did end up downloading the Swedish version as well, just to cross-reference a few things, but nothing too fatal, like you could sort of figure out what they probably meant. But yeah, there was a few interesting things in it, where they call both yarns yarn B, for example. So you don't know which yarn you're meant to start with because they just call both yarns yarn B and yarn B. Oh, even though one's meant to be yarn A and one's meant to be yarn B, but never mind. Wasn't too tricky to be able to figure it out. I did have to like zoom in on some pictures and eventually figure it out, but it was okay. And then of course the size I was making was the only size that wasn't mentioned in the chart. They missed one size in the chart and that was the size I was making. So then I had to make my own calculations and figure out some things. So that was okay though. And in the end, it turned out to be way too big, even though my gauge matches exactly what it says to the millimetre in the pattern. Something's off in the gauge, not in my gauge I might mention, because then I did some calculations with the stitch counts in the pattern as well, and something's definitely off, either in what they've got listed as the finished sizes or their gauge calculations, I'm not sure which. the finished sizes were going to be about, for my size anyway, the size that I'd chosen according to their listings in the pattern, my size was going to be at least 25 centimetres too big, and that's clearly just too big, even with some positive ease added in. And so I did a few calculations on some other sizes, and that was also going to be the case, even though they had listed what should have been the finished sizes, not with 25 centimetres positive ease. They'd listed the finished sizes saying that was including 5 to 10 centimetres of positive ease. So there was a bit of there was something up with the gauge as it was listed, and the stitch counts and the finished measurements. They didn't all match up with each other. So I don't know what was going on there, but anyway, so I ended up having to undo quite a bit of my jumper and go down several sizes to make a jumper, and I think it's still going to be quite a roomy jumper anyway, but that's all right. So that is my Trojan Babra Stjarna, and so I've only got about that much to go on the waistband and then the sleeve, so I think I'll have that done in plenty of time for Bendigo. And I'm quite happy with the way it looks and everything. The yarn I'm using is some really, really old stashed Bendigo Woolen Mills Rustic. This colour I think is called Shawl, and it's quite a almost an electric, maybe cobalt blue, and just the cream. I don't know if it's called cream or almond or magnolia, something like that. It's the undyed version of the rustic, and I think I bought this with something else in mind years ago, and the cream, I don't know why, but I had an unusually large amount of cream in the rustic. I must have been planning on making something, probably a blanket, considering the large amount of balls I had of it. So I thought I'd better use those, and they make a good match. It's very pretty, like sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not basic, but predictable colour choice for this pattern. But now I love it so much that I think I might want to make it again, maybe in like a black and like mustard or something less predictable in the colour choices. Or something like that, maybe red and black, or like a deep red and something. I don't know, I love it. Anyway, I think it's really gorgeous. I can't wait till it's finished and I can wear it. Really looking forward to that. So if you see this jumper getting around Bendigo, it's probably me. Come and say hi. So that is that one. And here is the one, I'm going to show you the one that I had started making for Bendigo, and then just a side note, I'm going to keep referring to the Australian Sheep and Wool Show as Bendigo because that's what everyone calls it. So from here on in, when you hear me refer to Bendigo, I mean the Australian Sheep and Wool Show. This is what I was going to make I planned on making for Bendigo, but as I got making it, I fell out of love with it, like completely out of love with it, and now I don't think I'm even going to finish it. I definitely won't finish it for Bendigo. I don't love it at all. I've spent so much time on it, and I'm really annoyed. Maybe I'll fall back in love with it at a later stage, but right now I do not like it. So it is this thing here. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but actually it looks much better on the screen than it does in real life, I have to say. If it looked like what it does on the screen, I would probably like it a lot more. But anyway, so it's this. It looks a lot more, there's a lot more contrast on the screen than there is in real life, and it looks a lot pinker on the screen. These stripes look a lot pinker and a lot more defined on the screen than they are in real life. In real life, these stripes are quite muted and they're like a very pale mauve, and they blend in a lot more with these fatter stripes. Anyway, here it is. So you can see I've done the yoke and starting on the body. It's called, refer to my list, excuse me. It's called Sweater Number 12, very imaginative, by My Favourite Things Knitwear. And I had to buy it from their individual website. I couldn't get it on Ravelry, but I think the project is listed on Ravelry. So you can see other people's versions of it, and other people's versions of it are just gorgeous, and the pattern is actually beautiful. And I think I will definitely make the pattern, but in different yarn, because I love the pattern, and other people's finished pieces are stunning, but I just chose the wrong yarn. Anyway, I'm making it in some hand spun that I have been working on for so long. Oh my god, it took forever. And I don't love it. I just don't love it. It didn't turn out how I imagined. So this is the hand spun. I don't know, it's too murky. And I hadn't hand spun any yarn for many years when I started to spin this, and I had to sort of relearn spinning, so I don't know that this is really the best hand spun yarn I've ever made. I can confirm that actually. And then the plain purple. So I had a very colourful, some very colourful mixed fleece that I spun into a singles. Anyway, I can never get that right. I'm sure someone will correct me. And then I had this plain colour, solid colour that I plied it with. And then I made some just in this solid colour to do the thinner stripes. But it came out so murky that I just don't love it at all. In fact, I hate it. I think it's so ugly. And it's just not my colours, and I was trying to branch out from my usual colours, and I shouldn't have done that. There's a reason why you like certain colours, and it's fine if you just make everything in the same colour group. It's totally fine. You don't have to get out of your comfort zone. You can just make everything in the same colours that you love. Anyway, I don't love it, and I probably won't finish it, and I don't know what I'm going to do with the yarn. I might give it to someone. Maybe I'll make something for one of the pets in my family. I don't know. I hate it. Anyway, let's move on to something that I don't hate. I might move on to some of my FOs. So, let me start here. These are in no particular order. Oh, why don't I start with what I'm wearing actually? This is Koivua, and I didn't add this to my list, so I can't remember who wrote the pattern. It might be Caitlin Hunter. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll put the name here. And I made this last year to wear to Bendigo. That got cancelled, so I've just been wearing it all year in anticipation for Bendigo. So I might just stand up and let you have a proper look at it. It's one of my favourite pieces, and I wear it all the time, just constantly. I absolutely love it. I love it. I did have to modify it quite heavily, because once I started making it, I realised that I didn't love the shape of the Koivua entirely. It's very tent-like, and that's not my favourite style on me. It doesn't look great on me. And it also had a very high flared neck that just looked like a Victorian ruff when I put it on, and I didn't love that either. I love a high neck actually. I've got lots of things that have a high neck, even things with a bit of a frill on a neck, and I love those. They look quite nice on me. I like them. But this didn't look good. I felt like I looked like a clown. So I just folded the neck in and stitched it down. And that worked really well. And the neck still is quite stretchy. There's no problem there getting it on and off. And it sits really nicely as well in that way. It looks like it was designed to do that, which I was happy about. So, oh my gosh, I was really worried when I'd done the whole thing and hated the neck. And then I was just like, I'll just fold it in. And it's fine. And I think I did something to the arms as well that was a bit different. And I also I tried to incorporate the shaping into my... It was a bit weird. They didn't quite get incorporated, the pattern into the shaping, but it doesn't matter because it's under my arms. So I'm very rarely doing that, and people are looking under my arms at the same time, so it doesn't really matter. But it fits really well. I love the way it fits. I love the colours, I love the pattern, and I'm strongly considering making another one because I love this one so much. But yeah, I wear it all the time. I wear it with dresses, I wear it with pants, I just wear it all the time. I wear it like dressing up, I wear it casual, I love it all the time. Anyway, that's the Koivua, maybe by Caitlin Hunter. Love it. The yarn I used is Bendigo Wool Mills Rustic. Yeah, can't remember the name of the colour, but I noticed on their website they've only got 2 colours of rustic in the 8 ply left. I'm not sure what the story is with that. And the black I used 2 strands of a 4 ply held together, and it was also a Bendigo Wool Mills, and I think it was called Galaxy. Like a bamboo wool blend something. That's the yarn I used for these. Now, next, get my list here. Let me see what is next here. Is the Charisma by Martin Storey. So that is, I don't think this is going to fit on the whole screen, it's massive. So it's got these gigantic batwing sleeves, and this is almost like a bit of a poncho when I wear it, but it's quite cute. Like, you can sort of get the idea about how it looks when I wear it. Very lacy fabric. You can see it's quite lacy. You have to wear something underneath it or it's a bit risque. This was an epic knit. There is no such thing as a rest row in this pattern. Every row has action on it. Every row has increases or decreases of some description, and you are incorporating the lace pattern into the increases and decreases, and it changes every single row. There was no such thing as a repeat in this pattern. It was different every single row. It was 100% attention 100% of the time on this pattern. And when I read other people's comments on Ravelry about this, so many people said this was such a breeze, it was such an easy pattern to knit, I could knit this with my eyes closed, it was so easy to get into the zone and knit it. And I was like, were we knitting the same pattern? And at first I thought, have I been doing it wrong and I'm knitting the pattern incorrectly? So I studied some of the images on other people's things. I thought, no, I'm definitely doing it right. Maybe I'm just an idiot. But I had to concentrate so hard on this piece to get it right. Anyway, I really like it, so it didn't matter. But boy, did it take a long time to knit it because it's huge. And even though I swatched and I washed my swatch before I began, it has stretched out a lot. The original one was knit in a wool cashmere blend or something like that, which is reasonably springy. I knit mine in a pure cotton, which has zero stretch and recoil, which I know, but I thought it'd be okay, and it's just not. After the first wear, it just went and anyway, it's huge now, and I've sort of got to like tuck it in kind of thing, otherwise it just sort of, it's fine to wear as long as I want to wear a very drapey, oversized garment, which is fine. Sometimes you do want to wear something like that, and it has a lot of movement when you wear it and stuff like that, which is fine because sometimes you do want something like that. It is not a tailored garment at all. But yeah, that is this piece. But the other thing, I don't have a lot of dom and sleeve pieces, or I haven't worn any for a long time, and I had forgotten that when you wear something with a dom and sleeve, well, it looks like there's pulling there, but it isn't really like that. When you wear something with a dom and sleeve, you can't wear a jacket over the top, because you can't get a jacket on the dolman, unless the jacket's also got gigantic sleeves. Anyway, there's a hot tip for you. If you're wearing a dolman sleeve, that's all you're wearing. You could wear a cape over it, but yeah, no jackets if you've got dolman sleeves. So that is the charisma. Right, next. This one is another one that was hugely popular a few months ago, and I noticed there's a lot of people still knitting it as well. Anyway, I'll show you what it is. You've probably seen heaps on Instagram, and you may have even seen parts of mine on Instagram as well. Here you go. It's the Great Gingham Raglan by Jessie Maed Designs. Here. And you might be thinking, just Shara, that looks huge. And you'd be correct, it is huge. It's way too big for me. I don't like a big top, despite the previous top I just showed you. I don't like giant tops. I don't like oversized clothes. I'm not an oversized person. In fact, I'm a very small person, I'm sure. I'm a small person. Oversized clothes don't work for me. I just drown in them. I get swallowed up by them. If I wear an oversized top, I look like grug. If you're outside of Australia or younger than a certain age, you might not know the storybook character grug. I'll try and add a picture here. So if I wear oversized clothes, I look like grug. So I tend to wear more tailored clothes, more cropped tops, things like that, and that's the way I like to dress. So oversized clothes, like this gigantic jumper, are not really my thing. Anyway, this was another top and pattern that I was not really happy with. And it took forever to knit. Also no rest rows in this top. The entire thing is colour work, except for these bits, like the cuffs. Everything else is colour work. There's no rest rows. And even though I swatched, and I swatch for everything, I'm a huge swatcher, I knew it wasn't quite right. When I did the swatch, I blocked the swatch and I knew it wasn't quite right, but I had my fingers crossed that it would just work out, which is really silly. I should have known better, but I went ahead with it anyway, just hoping it'd work out, and it didn't work out. And I'd been reading other people's comments who'd said exactly the same thing as what happened with my finished garment, and I should have learnt from their mistakes, and I didn't, because I'm an idiot. So, the gauge that is listed, so the pattern uses 5-ply or sports weight yarn. The gauge and needle size that are listed are unusual for sports weight or 5-ply yarn, and it makes a very, very loose fabric. You would normally knit 5-ply or sports weight yarn on much smaller needles with a much denser gauge. That would be normal. But this is knit on an extremely loose gauge, so that you get a very loose fabric. I don't know why it's done like that. That's also unusual for colour work as well. You don't usually want your colour work knit on a really open gauge. That's not typical. But I followed it. I got gauge. I think I got gauge with the recommended needle size, but I tried other needle sizes as well to see if I could get a different fabric, one that was possibly more suitable, but I couldn't get gauge when I did that. And I knew that I didn't necessarily need to get exact gauge if I was getting a better fabric, but I was getting wildly different gauge, and the fabric wasn't much better in various ways. So I thought I'll just stick with the correct gauge and this fabric. Then I won't have to do any fussing around with calculations. Silly. And a lot of people had said that once they blocked their work, it grew enormously. And that was people who used all different types of yarn and everything. And that's because the gauge is so loose. That's what happens when you have an extra loose gauge. It'll grow in blocking, even if you're not stretching it out. That's what happens. Anyway, I was extra careful not to stretch it out when I blocked it. Like, really took care not to do that. And I'm very pedantic when I block, but it still grew a lot in blocking, which was not ideal because it was already on the big side before I blocked it, so that wasn't great. And people had also said that their sleeves in particular grew, and I don't have very long arms, and I also don't like particularly long sleeves either, so I omitted several repeats of the sleeve pattern repeat in the sleeve deliberately so that I wouldn't have extra long sleeves. And boy am I glad that I did, because my sleeves are extremely long now anyway. If I hadn't omitted those, I would have had like sleeves that were like, you know, dangling off the ends of my arms here. The yoke is extremely deep, so that adds to the length of your sleeves as well. And it's having an extra long yoke is often quite unflattering, particularly if you are a small person and you don't have big broad shoulders and you're not a tall person with a long distance here. When you've got a long yoke that comes down to like here, it's like a big flappy, unflattering and often very uncomfortable feature in a garment. The body is too long. I omitted, I think, at least one repeat on the body, I think, and the body is designed to be ultra cropped. well, it's not cropped on me, it's too long, and I omitted some of the space anyway. And I noticed on some other people in their pictures it's coming up to like just underneath their bosom, and I'm like, wow, okay. Anyway, it's too long on me, and there's zero shaping in the. It's the same on the front and the back. There's no shaping at all. It's yeah. Anyway, as a result, it doesn't sit very nicely or comfortably on the body. It rides up at the front and it sags down at the back. It's like you've got your top on backwards constantly. And then because it rides up at the front and pulls down at the back, because that's not how clothes are meant to be, that's not how clothes are designed, because that's not how your body is shaped, it then sits down in a pouch at the front, but the neck doesn't sit that low. It still sits up high, but you end up with a pouch of jumper here, like that, constantly. And I thought, is it just me? Do I have a weird shaped body and I can't wear this design? Is it me? Am I the drama? So I went searching. So you can imagine this annoying feature where you've got this big crumb catching pouch on top of your jumper. So I went searching on Ravelry and Instagram, and it didn't take me long to find dozens of pictures of other people with that big like veranda on their sweater as well. And lots of other people had said it's uncomfortable to wear, it's strangling me, I don't like the neckline, but most people didn't know how to fix it. And I thought, well, this is dumb, I can't wear it, it's annoying, it's uncomfortable, like it's cute, like I love that fabric, love gingham. Anyway, I want to wear it. A, because it took me 1,000 years to make it. B, I love gingham, it's so cute. But it needs some attention. So then I found a couple of people who had really thoughtfully written their very precise notes on what they did to shape the neck. So it needs to start about here. The neck shaping, you can probably keep the back the same, but the front needs to come down in a dip where you just need to do short rows. You need to knit back and forth instead of in the round to get a dip on the neck there, and then it'll probably sit just fine. I can't really, well, I probably could, but I can't be bothered changing the depth of the yoke. You can see how long that yoke is, it's mental. Look, it's almost twice as long as the depth of this yoke. I'm not joking, the yoke comes down to about there. That's bananas. You could probably, if I stopped the decreases, because it's knit bottom up, if I stopped the decreases about here and then made them go more sharply at that point, and then made the neck start there, maybe, so I could have a wider neckline. I don't really know how to do it. I'm sure I could figure it out. Make the decreases go more, instead of being every third row or whatever they are, make them go every second row or every row so that they come in more sharply, and then start the neck decrease, like the neckline decrease there, and have the back neckline the same height, and just go back and forth in rows rather than continue in the round all the way up. That would be better, and then I wouldn't have that pouch at the front sitting folded up like that. Oh, it's so annoying when you wear it. And that would bring the height of the yoke up as well, and that might bring the length of the body up too. Otherwise, if the body is still too long, I can just do a bit of sweater surgery there and take off like a repeat and just knit the band again so that it's shorter. So it's definitely fixable, but it's going to take some work, and I'm still like repairing my feelings towards it, that is for sure. So definitely fixable, but knit straight off the pattern, really not a wearable garment, to be honest. Yeah, I think I've worn it like twice, and once was around the house. So yeah, a real shame, because it could be so cute, has so much potential. Like, who doesn't love gingham? Love it. Anyway, next. This next one here is one that I knit in literally a few days because it was really fun, really fat yarn, really fat needles, and it was just really fun to knit, so I couldn't put it down. So it is this one. So you can see there, really nice lace features. I don't know if you'll be able to see in the yarn, but the yarn has, it's not showing up, bummer. The yarn has reflective tape through it, so that like the same sort of stuff that you have on high-vis workwear, things like that, when light shines directly on it, it shows up. It's annoying that I can't get it to show up because it's really cool when it does. So just for fun, obviously, not so I can wear it when I'm doing traffic control or anything, but it looks cool if you're like at a party or whatever. It's fun. Or when I'm walking home at night, whatever. It's cool. I can actually see it with the light. Why can't I get that to work? I can see it with the light coming down like that, but not with the light on the screen. Anyway, that's annoying. The pattern is called Clotilde by Pernille Larsen. Pernille? I'm not really sure how to pronounce this lovely person's name, but it's the Clotilde sweater by Pernille Larsen. Put the name here. And it was really, really popular, this pattern, a few years ago. I used to see it everywhere online. Everyone was making one. And I can see why it became so popular, because it's beautiful, but it's super fun and really quick and easy to knit. And it comes in a huge range of sizes as well. I think there's even kids sizes too. Anyway, I can highly recommend it. And whenever I wear this, I just get inundated with beautiful comments from people. So everyone loves it too. And it's really fun to wear. I love wearing this one. Yeah, really cute, lovely jumper. Really love it. Yeah, I think I knit it in maybe 3 or 4 days. It was super easy to understand, really quick and easy to knit, and I'd happily make another one. Love it, really love it. Now, my next one is, where's my list? This one, I don't think I've shown you before, but pardon me if I have. This one is called Forest Vibes, and it is by, where am I? Masha Zyablikova. And it is this one. And I love this top. I wore this to death last winter. I think people would have been getting sick of me wearing it. But yeah, absolutely love this jumper. So, just gotta get rid of that. This pattern was beautifully written. It's got a big range of sizes, good charts. I knit this one quite quickly as well too, because it was really interesting and fun to knit, and I wanted to keep seeing these trees appearing. They were fun to make. I don't think I had to undo any parts of it or anything because everything just sort of worked out. And it's 2 strands of mohair and a strand of sports weight or 5-ply. So it was reasonably thick. I think it was knit on reasonably fat needles, like 5 or 5.5 mil needles, so it knits up pretty quickly. You have to be prepared to do a lot of purling, so there's a lot of purling in there, and you can't just flip it inside out and knit because you've got these action stitches all the way through, and some genius might be able to figure out how to do those backwards, but I couldn't figure it out. I tried. I'm not a huge fan of purling like most people, and I thought I'm just going to turn it inside out and knit it, but I could not figure out how to do those action stitches backwards and get them to still look exactly the same. I'm sure you'd be able to figure it out, but I didn't have the patience, and the time I spent trying to fuss around doing these action stitches on the wrong side was just no time saved at all by turning it inside out to knit instead of purl. So I just purled the whole thing. But anyway, it's gorgeous. I love wearing it. It is the warmest thing on earth, so you can really only wear it on super cold days, otherwise you cook. I often wear it out at night, because obviously it's colder at night, but yeah, I often wear it out at night. And then I don't boil over, but yeah, it does sometimes get a bit warm to wear it during the day. But yeah, absolutely love this, and I would happily knit another one of these. I loved making this, absolutely loved it, loved the pattern, loved it, loved everything about this. And I've bought another pattern from this designer, and it seems to be quite a popular pattern as well, so I think I will make that too. I've got some yarn set aside for that one as well, and it's sort of a similar shape to this but with different patterns on it. So I'm looking forward to that. She's obviously a very talented woman, and this neck was something a little bit similar to what I did with this, although this was deliberately done like that, where it's knit up quite high and then you fold it in and stitch it down. And initially when I did the neck, it was super tight and there was no way I was getting it over my head, so I had to go up a few needle sizes. I think I went up 2 needle sizes to make it real loose, and then I was extra careful when I stitched down the collar inside so that it still had loads of stretch and I could get it over my head, because as you can see it's quite a high tight neckline in the design as it is. So yeah, if you're at all unforgiving with your stitching in there, you'll struggle to get it over your head. So yeah, that's a tip I can give you, just be careful with your neckline. But absolutely love this jumper. Next, this one here you may or may not have seen. I may have shown you in progress last time. It's a mohair kind of blouse type jumper. You can see it's got these lovely big billowy sleeves. Let's see there. And it's quite sheer, you can see that. It's just 2 strands of mohair held together. The yarn is Oyster Yarns Fluff from the Pearl Box. Thank you, ladies. One of my favourite yarns. I absolutely love it. It is seriously gorgeous. And it's 2 strands held together of that gorgeous yarn. And the pattern is one of mine. I haven't released it yet. I probably should. It's a really lovely pattern. I use it all the time. Super quick and easy, and yeah, love it. and this, it sort of wears more like a blouse than it does a sweater or a jumper. Really love it. And I usually wear like a little camisole or something underneath it so that it's not so sheer. Yeah, and that's a nice light little jumper that I wear out. It's actually showing up almost a little bit with a green tinge on the screen, but it's actually this beautiful sort of peachy kind of colour in real life. Absolutely love it. And my next one is, you may have already seen this, but I'm going to show you again for a reason. I've got a knit along coming up, which actually starts on Friday the 24th of June. But it goes until the end of July, so the 31st of July, so you actually have heaps of time to join in. And that's 2022, just in case you're watching this episode in the deep future. And it's for my Arcturus shawl. So this one here. And anyone's welcome to join in, and it's being run through a beautiful yarn shop, which is Crumbz Craft, and they're doing that via their Facebook page, which is the Crumbz Craft social knitworking page on Facebook. And anyone can join in. It's free to join in, and everyone is posting pictures on that page of their Arcturus shawls and their yarn choices. You can ask questions if you need help with your shawl, all those sorts of things on there. So I thought I would show you my shawl here. I think this is the third one I've made. I love this shawl. This one is made with Tandy yarns that I got at the previous Bendigo, so at the Australian Sheep and Wool Show in 2019, I believe. And I made this with that. The yarn is so gorgeous, like seriously, I wish you could feel it through the screen because it is so beautiful. And the colours are gorgeous. I just love it. Anyway, that knit along is starting on Friday the 24th of June, and it runs all the way until the 31st of July, and you can find all the information on the Crumbz Craft website, and I'll put the website here. And if you go to that website, you'll find all the information there, and you'll find links to find everything else. And everyone's welcome to join in. I'd love you to join in because it's so much fun having a knit along. I love a knit along, and I'll be knitting one as well. Yeah, so because this is one of my favourite patterns to knit. It's deceptively easy. Don't be put off by this colourwork section here. It's mosaic knitting, so you only use one colour at a time. Very easy. I promise. I promise. So that is that one. And I think I've now talked about everything that I planned on talking about for this episode. It's been a long episode. I definitely didn't talk about everything that I have done in the past 11 months since my last episode because I'm going to save them for another episode. I hope you're all well. I hope you are keeping warm or keeping cool, whatever your weather is giving you at the moment. It's been really cold here. It is winter, but I hope you're well, and I hope you are enjoying your knitting or crochet or whatever it is that you are doing, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye.